Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your April 2016 mid-month readings. I am still using the Gilded Tarot deck, and even though we are focusing more on the last half of the month than the month entire, I am still using the same 8-card spread with an additional 9th card as your overall energy and advice for the month. These are general readings, as I always say, so if they don't apply or resonate, I suggest you also check your rising and your moon sign as well, as there are some months and some readings where those signs resonate more predictably for us than others. Thank you to those of you who continue to watch and listen and subscribe to my channel. I see the community is growing by the day. Thank you so much for your feedback and your support. I truly enjoy reading all your comments, both the ones you put directly on my channel and the ones you send via email, so please keep those coming. And as always, a big and special thank you to those of you who continue to reach out to me for personal one-on-one readings. It is an honor and a pleasure to read for you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to do that. And for those of you who are interested in a personal reading with me, you can click on the About sign on my channel's homepage for more information. And you can also email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I do readings full-time, so I work pretty diligently with your schedules to get you a reading as quickly as possible. My current turnaround time is around 1 to 4 or 5 days. So again, if you're interested, send me an email and I would be delighted to work with you. So let's get right into this reading. This is for Capricorn for April 2016 mid-month. Capricorn, April 2016 mid-month. My horned ones, my lovely grounded earth sign, Capricorn. What does the remainder of April 2016 hold for you? Capricorn, April 2016 mid-month. Okay. Excuse me. We begin with the Seven of Swords, followed by the Page of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords in reverse, followed by, the King of Swords in reverse, followed by the Nine of Swords, the Fool card, followed by the Star card. Wow, my two favorite cards in the tarot deck all lined up. And the Five of Swords, followed by the Six of Swords. And as your overall energy and advice over the reading, from the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Swords. Lots of swords, Capricorn. Let's take a look. Six swords. Lots of mental energy. Lots of internal stuff. Okay, let's begin. We find ourselves at or around the middle of April 2016 with the Seven of Swords, followed by the Page of Pentacles. So the Seven of Swords. Swords is a suit that is governed by the element of air, and so Swords is a suit that's all about our words and ideas, how we look at things, our mindset, our ideas, our perspectives, our belief systems, what we think. It's a card that's all about what goes on up here. The Seven of Swords is often referred to as the Thief card. It does show a man who is sneaking into someone's house, the implication being he's broken into someone's house in broad daylight, and he has taken a lot of their stuff, not everything, but a lot, and he is sneaking away with it, and looking over his shoulder with this sneaky, smarmy look on his face as if to say, look what I've gotten away with. This is also a card that can resonate as needing to be a little more clever about how you go about dealing with something, which is not a bad or negative thing in and of itself. The thief often gets a bad rap, and sometimes he doesn't deserve it, because we all have to be rather clever and sometimes a little undercover about how we go about doing things. But Capricorn, I'm actually feeling for you this month that this card actually represents that you're being taken from in some way, if not in an actual tangible financial property sort of way, but someone is taking from you, taking advantage of you, exploiting you in some way that's leaving you feeling very depleted, very drained, and very taken from. I think for some of you, this is going to represent taking of, again, for those of you for whom this doesn't resonate, is taking actual money or some kind of tangible property. It's more about taking energy, taking love, time, emotional resources, and again, just leaving you kind of drained, leaving you feeling exploited, depleted somehow. And I'm sorry to hear that for you. Now, the Seven of Swords is accompanied by the Page of Pentacles. Pentacles is ruled by the element of earth. So Pentacles is a suit that's all about things in our earthly, tangible, material world, things we can see and touch and feel. Most often, Pentacles points to things like money, finances, job, resources, property, assets, etc. Tangible things. Pages can represent children or actual young people in your life. They represent messages and messengers, and they also represent being at the beginning stages of learning about something or just starting to come to a deeper awareness or acknowledgement of something. And it would be in your material, tangible world somehow. And paired these two cards together, Capricorn, what I'm feeling is that I think for some of you, the person who's taking from you or taking advantage of you in some way could be a child, an older child, or an adult child of some sense. And they're just taking advantage perhaps of your parental connection, perhaps just taking advantage of your willingness to give to them over and over and over again. For some of you, this is going to resonate as you yourself just beginning to coming to an awareness of why you feel so depleted and what situation you're in that you feel is actually um, taking away from you. And for the larger portion of you, I don't feel like this is resonating as actual stealing of actual physical assets or money. Although for some of you, of course, it could play out that way. This is going to resonate differently for everyone who watches it, as it always does. But I think for some of you, this is just coming to a deeper understanding and awareness of the situation that you're in, that you're being taken from, taken advantage of, exploited in some way, or just being drained of emotional energy. I'm feeling a large drain of emotional energy. And it's like you're just coming to an awareness of that or a deeper understanding of how it's actually working, what it means, and why you found yourself in this position. Now, right next to that, we have and I also want to add that forewarned is forearmed too. So if you've been feeling this way and you're starting to perhaps to wake up to it, um, knowledge, forewarned is forearmed. So the knowledge of that, you can begin to take steps to remove yourself from the situation or perhaps set some boundaries with people. Now, right next to that, we have the King of Swords in reverse, accompanied by the Nine of Swords. And it seems like this is at the root of it. And I'm feeling this King of Swords as an actual individual in your sphere, Capricorn. So the King of Swords. In the upright position, the King of Swords is a very intelligent man, very clear thinking, very insightful, a truth seeker, all about gathering the facts, the information, the logic, looking for more, coming to an intellectual understanding of someone. This is somebody very thoughtful, very methodical, someone who is prone to take his time in decision making because he wants all the facts before he makes a decision. And he's more inherently prone to coming from a place of the mind rather than the heart first. Sometimes he can come across as a bit emotionally detached. Not to say that he's unemotional, that's just his presentation. He's just a more impartial sort of person. However, you got it in the reverse position, Capricorn, and I feel it's directly linked to this situation where perhaps you feel you're being depleted, taken advantage of, taken from in some way, drained. I feel for some of you. And for a lot of you, I feel like this is going to be mental and emotional energy. So in saying that too, and for some of you, this person may not be aware that they are actually doing this. But it feels like this person, this King of Swords in reverse, is the one directly linked to this or is the cause of your feeling this way. In the reverse position, the King of Swords can be an abusive person. This could represent an abusive relationship for some of you. The King of Swords could be an actual air sign, which would be Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini, or just somebody who exhibits the traits of the King of Swords, particularly the negative aspects of the King of Swords. Because in the upright position, a great guy, very clear thinking, but in the reverse position, this can be somebody, again, abusive, somebody prone to taking advantage of you, somebody manipulative and hurtful in his manipulation because he's so smart. He's very good at being able to manipulate or maneuver you. And I think for some of you, this is going to represent as maybe doing a little guilt play on you, or being very good at making you feel guilty so you continue to give to this individual. This can be somebody who is mentally abusive, or somebody who, again, I don't know how this is going to resonate for you. It could, go from one end of the other of the spectrum of the negative aspects of the King of Swords. It could be even a cruel person. But even at its best in the reverse position, this is somebody who's very manipulative, who knows how to manipulate you very well. And I think for some of you, this is going to be making you feel guilty, so that you're continuing to give to him, which looks like is leaving you feeling depleted. And it's the source of a lot of mental anxiety and worry, because that King of Swords in reverse is accompanied by the Nine of Swords, which is a card almost of mental torture. And maybe not specifically by the King of Swords, but just where you find yourself mentally and probably somewhat emotionally. You can see from the front of this card that this woman is sitting upright in bed. It's late at night. The moon is risen high in the sky. Everyone else is probably sleeping, but she's not. She's sitting up and she's kind of hunched over. And all her mental and emotional energy is spent on, she's completely focused on the source of her anxiety, stress, worry, mental anguish. I always get a feeling of circular thinking from this card, thoughts going around and around and around in her head. But there is a solution and an answer close by. Again, like with that Page of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords, forewarned is forearmed. And I think the positive aspect of this, Capricorn, is that you're becoming aware, you're developing an understanding actually of the situation that you find yourself in. You can see on the windowsill right by this woman is a little owl. And owls are symbolic for wisdom, insight, clarity. Even in the childhood storybook of Winnie the Pooh, whenever they had a question they couldn't answer, they went to wise old Mr. Owl because he always had the answers. They do represent wisdom and insight. So this owl is very close by this woman. So it's almost as if there's an answer or a solution, a way out of this, a way to relieve yourself of this. But this woman isn't noticing it at the time being because all of her attention and energy is spent on her worry, stress, and anxiety. So the very strong piece of advice I'm getting from this combination of cards, Capricorn, and I'm sorry to see that you find yourself in a position where you're being taken advantage of or just feeling drained in some way. And again, I feel like it's directly related to this air sign, King of Swords in reverse, or somebody who is exhibiting the negative aspects of that. But it looks like there is a way out. There's an answer, some clarity, and I really feel like you're coming to an awareness of what that is. However that resonates for you, it looks like it's almost difficult to verbalize. It feels like you're just kind of coming to an awareness. I'm tired. I'm feeling like I'm done with this. You're starting to become more and more aware of what's going on. Somebody in your life, it looks like, is taking advantage of you, taking from you, if not in a very tangible physical way, then in an emotional, mental, kind of heart energy sort of way. And I think that you're waking up to that, and you can reverse that energy of the Nine of Swords by finding a way to move through and away from all of this negative energy. There is a new beginning right around the corner from you. Right next to that, we have a lovely combination of cards, Capricorn. My two favorite cards in the entire tarot deck. We have the Fool card, Major Arcana, and the Star card, another Major Arcana card. So take heart. Don't get depressed and find this too negative. It looks like it's negative enough already. I think that you find yourself in a position, Capricorn, and also being the lovely, grounded, rooted earth energy you are. I think when you are in a position where you're caring for someone or you're giving to someone on a continuous, regular basis, your sense of loyalty and faithfulness is very strong, and it can be very difficult for you to walk away from a situation where you've been giving to somebody for quite some time, or cut ties with someone, or set clear boundaries with somebody. Because of that lovely earth rooted energy you have, sometimes you take that dedication and faith to another level. But it looks like in this case, it is not deserved, and it's not being returned back to you. And the universe is sending a very, very strong message and piece of advice that you need to have a new beginning from this. And a new beginning is right there. It's the potential is very strong, and you need to have hope and faith in that, which is what the Fool represents. The Fool represents beginnings, new beginnings, the beginning of the beginnings. This is the Zero card, the first card in the tarot deck. It's a beautiful card. It represents the breath before the first step. The Fool card is there to remind us that even though having goals and destinations are good and working towards those goals are good, the Fool is there to remind us that the joy and the value and the most important lessons are actually on the journey itself. To take time to stop and smell the roses, to enjoy every step of the way. The Fool is saying that it is time to step out on a new path. It's time to have a new beginning and move through and away from this situation that you find yourself in where you're so depleted and so drained, I feel. The Fool is a very strong message from the universe, whatever your source of spiritual foundation is, to step out, to take a risk, to go outside of your comfort zone and free yourself from this so that you can have a complete and total new beginning. Now, the Fool card is paired with the Star card, another beautiful, beautiful major arcana card. And if there's one word I could attach to the Star card, it's faith. This is a card of faith. Faith, hope, peace, restoration, healing. This is a card of moving through and away from pain, hurt, challenge. I've often seen this card come up for people who have been through a very long illness and they're beginning to recover. People who went through a really bad breakup and took quite a long time out to heal, and they're just kind of coming out. It's like coming out of the darkness into the sun and realizing that life is still going on. It's meant to be lived. There's still beautiful joys and blessings around you and ahead of you. The Star card also represents a beautiful path laid out in front of you, a path to the future, that the wheel is on the upswing again, and primarily to have hope and faith in the promise and potential of that. And of that is your new beginning, Capricorn. Beautiful combination of cards, and my two favorite cards in the Arcana deck. It's all about new beginnings, taking a risk, stepping out of your comfort zone and away from all of this negative energy and feels like almost parasitic draining of you. Take a risk, step out into new beginnings, and have hope and faith that that is going to play out very well for you. Now, at or towards the end of April 2016, we have the Five of Swords followed by the Six of Swords. And I like this combination of cards for you, Capricorn, because it continues on having faith that you can step out and take a risk and have a new beginning away from all of this negative parasitic sort of energy, because there's been too much back and forth internal conflicts, whether you're winning or whether you're not winning. The Five of Swords is a card that can represent a temporary victory, but a shallow one at best. It represents a battle in the midst of a lot of battles that have been fought before this guy, what's shown on this card, battles fought afterwards. You can see this man has just finished a battle, a challenge of some kind, and his opponents or foes or enemies are defeated behind him on the grass. He has gathered up all their swords and he's holding his own aloft in victory. But he doesn't look particularly victorious. He looks worn out, tired, depleted, exhausted, kind of like that Seven of Swords energy. He's bleeding from a cut on his forehead. It's the first in a whole series of battles. And this card fundamentally begs the question, is it worth it? Is this continuing to worth it? Whether you lose, whether you win this battle, that battle, the war still continues. Is this worth investing in? And I feel like the cards point strongly to the fact that it doesn't look like it's worth it, because it's leaving you, again, double message here, drained, exhausted, depleted, kind of at your rope's end. And I feel like this is the month, Capricorn, particularly over the next couple of weeks, that you are really becoming aware of that, which is a wonderful and positive thing. Looking at moving through this, take a risk, step out and away from it, and have hope and faith in a new beginning for you, because it doesn't look like it's worth it. It looks like it's costing you. That Five of Swords says it's costing you an awful lot. But that Five of Swords is paired with the Six of Swords, which is a card about moving into smoother, more peaceful and serene waters. In other tarot cards, I've actually seen the water behind the boat be very choppy and turbulent, and the water in front of the boat be very smooth and serene and placid. This is a card that's about moving away from chaotic, turbulent, painful times into smoother and more peaceful times. It's kind of a quiet, somber card, a card of healing, peace, and restoration. It looks like it's time to have new beginnings, to take a risk, step out through and away from this negative situation this parasitic kind of draining energy and into a smoother, more peaceful time in your life so that the healing process can continue for you and you can move into this beautiful new beginning, and have hope and faith in that. And it looks like this has taken a lot out of you because your crowning card, Capricorn, is the Four of Swords. So many swords cards, a lot of mental energy. I feel like just again, this reading isn't going to resonate for everybody, but I think for those of you for whom it does, there's just been so much energy focused on this problem. I think that you're becoming quite aware of it, who it is, what it's about, and the fact that you really need to pull yourself and move away from this energy. Again, whether it's an actual adult person as manifested by this King of Swords in reverse, or perhaps an adult child that's continuously taking from you and not giving back and leaving you feeling depleted that you need to set boundaries. However it resonates for you, it looks like it's taking a lot out of you. That's the continued message. The other continued message is to be able to move through and away from it. That Six of Swords, the Four of Swords, this is a card of rest and respite, of needing to retreat, to take a time out to withdraw from conflict. You can see that this man is girded for battle, whether he's just finished a battle or he's taking a break from battle. For the time being, he has withdrawn. He's not engaged in conflict. He's resting. He's depleted, exhausted. The thing I find pretty significant and telling about the picture on this card, Capricorn, is this man is still wearing his armor. And that stuff weighed a ton in medieval times. And typically his page or his squire would remove it before he rested or ate, so that because it was just uncomfortable. You couldn't rest in it. It was so heavy. But this man is so depleted, so exhausted, so worn out, hasn't even bothered to have his armor removed. He's just laid down and gone to sleep. This points to a very strong need to take a step back, go within, take a rest, move through and away from this energy because it looks like it's costing you a lot. So some really good advice here with what looks to be a very challenging situation, but one that there's beautiful potential to have new beginnings away from this conflict, away from this negative energy, to have hope and faith in that. Ask yourself if it's really worth continuing investing in, because it looks like moving through and into a time of peace and serenity and healing is what you desperately need and what the cards are strongly indicating. So good advice for you for that, Capricorn. So I hope this reading has resonated for you or has brought you at least some insight and clarity. Again, I'm sorry to see that you're finding yourself in a situation where you're feeling so drained or perhaps taken advantage of. But the cards, especially the last half of them, look very beautiful and very strong. It's all about moving away, looking at new beginnings, taking a risk, stepping out, stepping away from this situation, this person perhaps, having hope and faith in that so that the peace and the healing and the restoration can begin for you, because that looks quite beautiful, Capricorn. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has helped give you some direction and some food for thought on how to proceed through the rest of the month. And if there's any of you who are interested in a personal reading with me, again, you can click on the About sign for more information, and you can email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. And until I see you in a couple of weeks for the May 2016 general readings, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life, Capricorn. Blessings to you.